Welcome to Bright Girl Health Period Trivia. Feel free to play along. To enrol your school in a Bright Girl Health online presentation from anywhere in the world, head to brightgirlhealth.com. I am here with the lovely Emily and Siobhan, who have been my students since year 9.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here today, guys. We are going to play a little trivia game about what is typical when it comes to periods.
Okay.
So you have boards here to write your answers down. I'm going to ask you a question, write down your answers, we'll reveal them, and I'll tell you the answer.
All right.
Wow, okay, cool. Okay, question 1. How often should your period come? So feel free to write it as a range if you want to, so it could be every 5 to 6 days. All right, ready to reveal?
Yep. Yeah.
3, 2, 1. We've got around once every month, and we have once a month or about 3 to 8 days. Oh, you are ahead of yourself. Okay, well, I won't tell you if it should be 3 to 8 days or not. The average time we should have our period arrive is about every 21 to 35 days. Now, we hear that 28 days is the average, so about once a month, like you said, Siobhan. But because we're not all the same, we're not all clones or robots, there is that range. So it's every 21 to 35 days is typical.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. How long should your period bleed last? So once your period comes, how many days should you bleed for? All right, ready to reveal?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. We have every 3 to 8 days and every 3 to 8 days. That's actually really close. So 4 to 7 days is the average amount of time we should bleed for. So a shorter bleed than 4 days isn't necessarily typical. And did you know that sometimes a really short bleed might not even be a menstrual period?
What is that?
So sometimes we can bleed for other reasons. It could be a mid-cycle bleeding, and bleeding for other reasons isn't always a good thing. It's not always super concerning, but it's a good idea to go chat to someone if you are having really irregular bleeding. A bleed that's longer than 7 days isn't the typical either. So 4 to 7 days is the typical. Okay. The next question, I actually have some props here. So we have a drink bottle here, we have a drinking glass, and we have a shot glass. I want you to decide out of these 3 things, what would you use to measure your period blood in that you lose over the whole 4 to 7 days of your period? So if you had the blood from your period from those 4 to 7 days all in one place, which of these 3 things would you use to measure it? And it's okay if you get them wrong as well, because I ask a lot of adults these questions and they don't know the answers. So it's okay if we don't know the answers.
Yeah.
All right, ready to reveal?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. We have the cup, but it won't fully fill, and we have the regular glass. So you both said the regular drinking glass.
Yeah.
It's actually the shot glass. A lot of people think that we lose so much blood on our period because sometimes it can look like it's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like all over a pad and it's spread out.
And you have to change it so many times.
Yeah. So the average amount of blood that we lose, I've got a tablespoon here. The average amount of blood that we lose is actually only about 2 to 4 tablespoons worth of blood over the whole 4 to 7 days. So if we were to actually measure it out in some water, it would be 3 tablespoons that fills this shot glass. So that's 1, 2, and 3, and the shot glass is full. So the average period blood loss is 2 to 4. So it would be 1 shot glass, maybe 1.5 shot glasses of blood that we lose over those 4 to 7 days.
That's way less than I thought.
Okay, how many hours should you be able to go wearing a pad or tampon before you have to change it because it's going to leak? So how long should you be able to wear it before you're like, I'm gonna leak?
Just like a regular one?
Yeah, just like a
pad?
regular pad or tampon.
Ooh. Okay. What are you writing?
Don't steal my answer.
Again, it can be arranged because we're all different.
I keep changing my answer.
Ready to reveal?
Yep.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, turn them around. We have up to 5 hours. And we have 6 to 8 hours or a regular flow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
probably
okay,
more right. Yeah.
So it's actually, you should be able to wear a pad or tampon for 3 to 8 hours before needing to change it. And that would be 1, to stay hygienic. So we shouldn't wear a pad for longer than 8 hours. And a tampon we should ideally change around 4 hours, although you can technically go up to 8 hours with a tampon. But how do we know if we're losing that shot glass worth of blood? A good way to be able to tell if you're losing that average amount of blood, so the 2 to 4 tablespoons, is if you can go 3 to 8 hours before having to change a pad or tampon because it's not in danger of leaking. Okay, this one's a fill in the blank. A good way to know if you have a heavy period is if you need to change your pad or tampon every blank to blank hours. So good way to know if you have a heavy period is if you need to change your tampon how many hours?
Does it have to be a range or can I just?
You can do a range if you like. Oh yeah, it could be, yeah, so every blank to blank hours would be the range. So 3 to 4 hours or 10 to 11 hours. I actually got a sneak peek of your answer and I like it, it's good.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay.
All right, ready for reveal? 3, 2, 1. Every 1 to 5 hours, every 1 to 3 hours. So the answer is every 1 to 2 hours, but that could creep on into every 1 to 3 hours. So a good way to know if you've got a heavy period, if you're losing more than the average amount of blood, is if you need to go to the bathroom and change your pad or tampon every hour or two because it's completely full and it's about to leak. So that's how.
Than the shot glass.
And that would be on average over the week. If someone had a heavy period, they would be losing more than that shot glass worth of blood. Yeah. True or false? Our period blood should have minimal to no clots in it. So clots can be where blood looks kind of lumpy. So the average period has minimal to no clots. True or false? Elevator music. Okay, reveal. We've got true and false. So it's actually true. It should have minimal to no clots in the average period blood loss. So clots are when your blood can look kind of lumpy. Those lumps could be the size of like a grape, or it could go up to the size of golf balls. Some people have really large clots and that can cause a lot of pain and have other issues around that as well. So minimal to no clots is part of the healthy average period. All right, is it okay for period blood to be brown? This is a bit of a hard question.
I know this one.
You know this
Yeah.
one? Great. True or false? It's okay for period blood to be brown.
Well, it depends.
It does depend. Okay, 3, 2, 1, reveal. False and yes, so true. Yeah, so it does depend, and so both can be correct. So it's okay for period blood to be brown when you first find your period, so maybe the first day of your period, and that's because the blood is flowing more slowly, and when it flows more slowly, it's exposed to more oxygen, and that oxygen can turn it brown. However, if it's brown on your heaviest day, that's not a great sign. So the typical period, your blood should be a nice rich red color on your heaviest day. So you're both right.
That's good.
All right, true or false, the typical period shouldn't come along with excessive pain. Okay, reveal your answers. And we have true. Very good. This is correct. So periods should not come along with excessive amounts of pain that stop us from living our life.
Okay.
Cool. Our final question, guys. Ovulation is necessary for you to get your period. And ovulation is when an ovary releases an egg. So true or false? Ovulation is necessary for us to get our period. Confident about that, Emily?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. 3, 2, 1, reveal. We have true, perfect. That's absolutely correct.
Oh,
So
okay.
ovulation is such an important part of our menstrual cycle. If we don't ovulate, that's a lot of the reason why our period can go missing, because it's necessary for ovulation to happen in order for us to get our period.
Does that mean if you release 2 eggs that your period will be extra heavy?
No, it doesn't, because your period being heavy or light, as in a shot glass full of blood or a full drinking glass full of blood, that's all dependent on the lining of your uterus and how thick it's become, and that all has to do with our estrogen levels, not an egg being released. However, that egg being released does make the correct hormones that will then cause our period to happen about 2 weeks later. Now, if we ovulate late, we usually get our period late. If we ovulate early, we usually get our period early. And if we don't ovulate at all, that's a big reason why people's periods can go missing. And so if someone's period was missing for 3 months or more, it's a really good idea to go chat with a doctor to see why your body's not able to ovulate and have a period. All right, good job, girls. You did fantastic. We'd love to enrol your school in a Bright Girl Health online presentation where students learn to embrace their period and their hormones through games, fun segments, engaging teaching, demonstrations of our favourite period products, and interviews with students. And it's available internationally. Head to brightgirlhealth.com to learn more.